Good morning, Year 4. Welcome to your Tuesday English lesson. I'm going to share my screen with you now. If I could ask you to write today's date and learning objective. So if you pause the video now and write those down. Okay. Now, if we just remind ourselves what we're doing. This week we've been watching the film Marshmallows, and we're going to be writing about it this week. So yesterday we wrote some sentences to describe a setting. And today we're going to be using those sentences to help us write an opening paragraph. Tomorrow we're going to be writing an action sequence based on the animation. And on Thursday and Friday you're going to be writing your own innovative story based around this animation. Let me just remind you again of the types of things we're going to see in our writing today. So I'm going to be able to see in your writing this week lovely noun phrases, precise verbs, prepositional phrases, complex sentences, fronted adverbials, maybe some adverbs. You might be dropping in the odd simile, and of course the basics will be there. You'll be remembering the capital letters and full stops in the right place. Okay, now today we're going to be going to our opening paragraph, which is going to be based around a setting description. And we're going to be thinking today about our senses, what we can hear, what we can see, what we can smell, what we might be thinking to ourselves, what we might be feeling in that setting description. Okay, now to start you today and to give you some inspiration, there's this clip of sound that I'd like you to listen to. Now this website has been saved on the Classroom Dojo page and also on our schedule. So I'd like you to pause this video now and click on this soundscape and listen to it. And as you're listening to it, I'd like you to write down any ideas about what you could hear in a forest. This will give us extra clues to write about today. Now, well done. Now, as you are probably listening, you probably could picture the setting for this story in your mind. These photos will help you imagine what it must be like to be in a forest by a lake, surrounded by mountains at night time, and what it must feel like to be that boy who was sat by the roaring fire. And also you probably heard the sounds of the owls tooting, and maybe you could hear the wolves in the background as well. I wonder if you noticed anything else. Okay, now if you remember yesterday, we collected lots of nouns to do with what we could hear. Here are the nouns that we collected yesterday, and I've just added one else in here. I've put in insects, but we also could add in wolves, and maybe we could also add in owls. Okay, so today in our paragraph, we're going to be writing about all of these different things that would appear in this setting. I wonder if you could pause now and think of two adjectives that would go with wolves and owls. Pause the video now and have a think. Well done. Now I was wondering with owls we could perhaps have and maybe for wolves we could have howling. Okay, remember to add those words to your list from yesterday because you're going to be needing these in your writing today. Now let's look at an example of an opening setting description. This paragraph here is the opening of this story, and I wonder if we can find certain things within this bit of reading. We're going to look out to see if we can find some prepositional phrases. We're going to look to see if we can find some precise, powerful and pacey verbs. We're going to look to see if we can see some great noun phrasing, and there might be a simile that we can look for. I'm going to allocate a different colour to each of these things because I'm going to highlight them in different colours. So I'm going to give yellow to prepositional phrase, I'm going to give green to verbs, I'm going to give blue to noun phrasing, and I'm going to give purple to a simile. Okay, let's read it together, and then at the end we'll highlight the different things. It was a clear, warm night. Crickets chirped in the distance, and intermittently an owl hooted. A solitary boat bobbed on the lake, and from time to time the water slapped against it. Moonlight hit the ripples on the lake, reflecting little sparks of light like diamonds on the water. Why don't you pause the video just now and see if you can find any prepositional phrases, any verbs, any similes, or any noun phrases. Okay, let's start off with our noun phrases. Let's see if we can find any as we go through. So we want to look first of all for our nouns, and then we're going to look for the adjectives that describe them. Remember, nouns are PPT, person, place and things. So here we have night. It was a clear, warm night, our first noun phrase. We've got the boat, another thing here. It's described as solitary, so it's like a lonely boat. Let's have a look. I think that's the only one. We've got lots of other nouns there, but that's the only adjectives I can see at the moment. I might spot something else in a moment. Let's have a look now to see any verbs. We want some powerful verbs here that are going to really show pace and movement in our story. We have our crickets here, and they're making a noise. They're chirping. So that is our verb. We have an owl in the distance who is hooting. And the boat is bobbing. And the water is slapping. The moonlight is reflecting. And those are all our verbs in the story so far. Let's see if we can find some similes now. So I'm going to underline this. Now, we don't want too many similes in our writing. Remember, we only drop in our descriptions like that. And I can see straight away similes are when you liken something to something else. So I can see here that the moonlight is being likened to diamonds on the water. And now we go back finally to our first thing, which is the prepositional phrases. Remember our little prepositional mouse? He goes over, he goes under, he goes through, he goes beside. Let's see if we can find any. It was a clear, warm night. The crickets chirped in the distance. The solitary boat bobbed on the lake. And the water is slapping against the boat. And there we have our prepositional phrases. Now today, when you're writing your opening paragraph, I want to, if you can see if you can get these things in your writing today. Okay, let's move on. Now, you are going to write an opening paragraph, but your writing today mustn't be a series of just individual sentences. It has to be a paragraph. And good writers write a paragraph that really flows between the sentences. It links the sentences really nicely together. We're going to think about this as like a little journey. You're going to describe the opening paragraph of this setting, of this animation. You might start off, oh, don't need that, let's just get rid of that. You might start off with the lake. So you might describe how the lake is there in our setting. And then you might move from the lake to describing the mountains which surround the lake. Then you might zoom in on the trees and then zoom in even further onto the pathway that you can see. And this pathway leads up to a camping area where there is a fire. And beside the fire, there are some fallen logs. And then just behind the fire, there is a tent. And in that area, there's obviously the boy. So today, when you're writing and you're describing, I want you to take this journey through your paragraph, describing these things as you go. You also could include some of the things that you may have heard in that soundscape, like the insects or the wolves or the owls hooting. And you might want to describe how there might be a boat bobbing in the lake, like there had been in the previous paragraphs I've just read to you. So we're going to now start writing. I'm going to model a little bit of writing, which you can borrow today. You also can go back today and have a look at this paragraph, because this will help and inspire you. I've been inspired by this paragraph and I'm going to use that to help model some writing today. Okay, so I'm going to start off by thinking about the night. Now, how am I going to describe this night? So I'm going to start off with a simple, short sentence. It was a cool, to make that going across, calm night. Okay, nice and straightforward, a simple sentence. Now we're going to go into a bit more description. I want to start off with a fronted adverbial. I'm going to go with in the distance. Remembering my comma after that fronted adverbial. A solitary owl hooted a lonely song. I like this idea of the song. I think I might keep this theme in this paragraph. And a pack of wolves howled a... Now I want to think about this song idea. So what word could I use? I'm going to use melodic. In unison. I'm going to read that back just to check and see if I like it. It was a cool, calm night. In the distance, a solitary owl hooted and a lonely song. Sorry, that doesn't make sense. A solitary owl hooted a lonely song. Good job I looked at that to check. And a pack of wolves howled a melodic chorus in unison. Okay, I'm happy with that, so I'm going to carry on. I'm going to think now about the next thing I want to describe, and I want to describe the moonlight. And I'm going to keep that idea of song. I'm thinking, now obviously the moonlight doesn't make a song, so I'm going to see if I can keep with that musical idea. So let's think. The moonlight danced. Yes, that works. I want it to be, it's kind of a spooky atmosphere I want to create here. So I'm going to add in a little adverb here so I can modify this verb. The moonlight danced eerily. That's better. Across the lake. Prepositional phrase. While the towering trees. Oh no, do I want towering trees? No, I think we're going for the towering silhouettes. That's better. The mountains kept watch for any sudden and movements. Okay, let's read that back. I need to double check to see if that's okay, to check if I've made any mistakes. It was a cool, calm night. In the distance, a solitary owl hooted a lonely song, and a pack of wolves howled a melodic chorus in unison. The moonlight danced eerily across the lake, while the towering silhouettes of the mountains kept watch for any sudden and unexpected movements. Now, that's not quite finished. That wouldn't be my whole opening paragraph. I think you'd write a little bit more, because remember, you've got other things to write about. You've got the lake to write about, you've got the path to write about, you've got the campfire and the tents to write about, all those things that you can talk about, but I've just started to give you an idea. Now I'm going to double check to see if I've included the things I want to include, for example, a prepositional phrase, noun phrase, precise verbs, and making sure my writing flows. I'm happy that my writing does flow, so I'm just going to see if I've got these things here, and I'm going to just highlight the things I want to show my readers. So I want to see if we've got any prepositional phrases. I'm going to make that a different colour. So prepositional phrases. It was a cool, calm night. In the distance, a solitary owl hooted a lonely song and a pack of wolves howled a melodic chorus. The moonlight danced eerily across the lake. Brilliant. So I have got a prepositional phrase. I also want to see if I've got any precise verbs, because it's really important to bring my writing alive with good verbs. Let's have a look. Hooted. That's precise. And I've got howled, another precise verb. And we've got danced. Very good. Okay. And of course the mountains, keeping watch for any sudden and unexpected movements. So I've definitely got that. I've noticed that I have got a simile in my writing because I've said the mountains are like, have I done that? The moonlight? I haven't actually got a simile in there, but I have mentioned the mountains being a bit like someone watching something else. So I could have turned that into a simile if I'd wanted to. Noun phrases, let's have a look for that. I've got a solitary owl. It was a cool, calm night. Lonely song. Towering silhouettes. And sudden and unexpected movements. Lovely. So I have got some noun phrases in there. So I'm happy that I've written quite a descriptive paragraph. I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to ask you now to pause the video and I'd like you to have a go at writing your opening paragraph to this animation. Remember, you're describing the setting in your opening paragraph. It has to be a paragraph, not a series of individual sentences. Remember, I'm looking for that story that flows, okay? Your writing must flow, okay, like you're on a little journey. So pause the video now, have a go at that, and I can't wait to read your writing later on.